After a whirlwind day of trades ahead of today's trade deadline, a little bit of truth is starting to unravel behind the PJ Washington and Grant Williams trade, as well as taking a look into see what kind of player are we really getting out of PJ Washington. How's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavericks Digest, where we're bringing you the latest Mavericks Digest news. Make sure you subscribe to stay tuned on everything Mavericks related as we're covering everything this season. Now, it was reported today from Shams that that Charlotte Hornets are trading PJ Washington to Dallas for a package around Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round pick. Now, Dallas Mavericks, we also got back, I want to say, 2 second-round picks in that trade. So it's not like we got no draft capital at all. We still got a few more draft picks that maybe we can package up in the summer, maybe, you know, start of the next season. We have options still. But with these trades that happened today, especially for PJ Washington, a lot of Mavericks fans are elated. They're happy that we were able to get Grant Williams off the books after a very disappointing season. And I've said on this channel before, I was happy to see Grant Williams sign with the Dallas Mavericks. I feel like Dallas doesn't really get a lot of big free agents, and not saying Grant Williams is an all-star, superstar caliber player to sign with us, but he was a serviceable player that showed a lot of promise in Boston. He had a lot of good highlights, a lot of high moments, a lot of good games played for the Boston Celtics as their young guy coming off the bench as their defensive anchor alongside Marcus Smart and those guys. But as we saw at the beginning of the season, things looked pretty good for Grant Williams. He started to, you know, find his flow and rhythm, but as the games carried on, Grant Williams just didn't seem to have it all together, just not hitting all the shots, not scoring at a high clip. The defense wasn't there as well. We moved him to the bench, and even though he did seem to do a little bit better off the bench, it just wasn't enough, and Nico had to make the call. Nico had to make the call, had to shop him around, see what we could get for Grant Williams, trying to see if we can improve. The Dallas Mavericks are poised to make a playoff run. Right now, they're around the 7th and 8th seed, trying to move up. I truly believe that we can get to the 5th, 6th, maybe even the 4th seed, you know, somewhere around there, 4th through 6th seed, if we just play our cards right and play our brand of basketball for the remainder of the season. And a lot of people on the Twitter spaces I've seen are just not really sold on PJ Washington, but they at least know that Grant Williams leaving is what was needed. So I got a little head-to-head comparison here to put into perspective of who it is that we're actually getting. On the left there, you see Grant Williams, and on the right, you see PJ Washington, and they're head-to-head. Grant Williams has won more games against the Hornets. Now, to be fair, he was on the Celtics, and you know, for the most part, and PJ Washington being on the Hornets, it's obviously which team's better, but their overall stats. You got PJ Washington, he's a better scorer, a better rebounder, a better passer with more assists. Steals, relatively close, but still more steals. He can average a block a game as opposed to half a block for Grant Williams, shooting 45% from the floor. Now, his three-point shooting, his free throw percentage, his effective field goal percentage is below Grant Williams, but he's obviously shooting the ball at a higher clip than Grant Williams. He's taking more attempts than Grant Williams, so those numbers a little bit skewed. And as you can see there, just overall, we are getting a better player. He's played only 30 games less than Grant Williams. They're about the same age, but we're getting a player in PJ Washington who actually can play the 4 spot. He can play the power forward and the center position. He can, if we got to go small ball, we can put him down there on the low block, and he can hold his own against some of the bigs. And I'm not saying he's going to be a center stopper. He's not going to be a Giannis stopper, an Embiid stopper, or an AD stopper. But if we got to go small ball, if we're up against, let's say, Golden State wants to make a push and somehow they make it to the playoffs and we have to play against them, put them on Draymond. I'm fairly confident that Draymond at this age would have a hard time having to play against PJ Washington in a matchup. That's how confident I am in this young pickup that we got here. But again, Mavericks fans aren't really sold on this. They say we gave up too much, that PJ Washington, why did we give up so much? Well, let me show you what we just gave up for PJ Washington. As you can see here, his stats. I've showed you 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And Seth Curry, one of the players traded away for PJ Washington, averaging 4 points, 1 rebound, 37% from the floor, 36% from 3. I mean, wasn't on high attempts. Those percentages, I mean, the 3-point percentage looks good, but it was on maybe 1 attempt a game. Not the best. The field goal percentage is below 40%. And again, it's unfortunate that this is Seth Curry's 3rd time getting dealt by the Dallas Mavericks. It just wasn't working out. And unfortunately, as you get older with age, sometimes you don't age like fine wine. And unfortunately, that is the case for Seth Curry, unlike his brother Steph Curry. But that's the replacement is huge. I showed you Grant Williams' stats. I'll throw it back up. You see his stats. head-to-head with PJ Washington. PJ Washington is obviously the much better player. And then over here, oh, where is it going? There we go, Seth Curry stats. You're trading those two players, a player in PJ Washington who wasn't playing his best brand of basketball as a defender, couldn't really score the ball that well, and then you're trading away another player like Seth Curry who wasn't really playing any basketball for us, for someone like PJ Washington who can just come off the bench, be a spark plug. We can insert him in small ball lineups. And I don't have the graphic here, but I did see online that he actually has the same arm length, the same length as Daniel Gafford. And he's shorter. He's about 2-3 inches shorter than Daniel Gafford with the same wingspan. That's insane. That's going to be incredible. We can run crazy lineups with a player like PJ Washington with this Dallas Mavericks come playoff time. And again, Grant Williams, fan favorite for some. A lot of people were excited for him. I was excited for him. It just didn't pan out. I don't think this trade should be like, yeah, good riddance, we didn't want you. No, it's like, hey, we are glad that you wanted to come here. We tried it. We tried a few different things. You can argue that Jason Kidd didn't know what he was doing, but I think it's safe to say that unfortunately the Dallas Mavericks just wasn't a good spot for a player like Grant Williams to really flourish. And maybe over there in Charlotte with those young guys, he can try to be a vet and really help those guys on the defensive end a little bit better than what he could do in Dallas. We wish him all the best. But again, PJ Washington, I can't get enough of it. I can't say it enough that we are getting a defensive wing, an amazing defensive wing who brings tenacity, who brings good ball spacing, good ball movement. He can play the center position. He plays the four naturally, and I'll throw his stats back up. 6'7" power forward and center. That's insane. 6'7" power forward. Okay, cool. But you also play the center spot. Again, we're not going to put him up against any true 7-footers. That's obviously going to be Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. But if any team wants to try to run any small ball shenanigans, we got PJ Washington in the chamber, just ready to go. And I'm loving it. Nico Harrison has done it again, and I'll continue to say it on these next few vids as we talk about this trade deadline and all the good things that are coming out of it for the Dallas Mavericks. Nico Harrison, Executive of the Year, I'm all for it. Give the man that award. But that's all I got for you guys today. We got a couple more vids that we're going to be cranking out for you guys. Make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss a single video that we're putting out as we break down everything Dallas Mavericks related. Make sure you subscribe. My name is Marcel. Peace.